is Manan. I'm from Delhi. So my bachelor's is in architecture, but now I'm starting with my master in management course in London Business School. So a little bit about me. So I haven't worked professionally for a longer duration. I haven't worked full time yet, but I have plenty of internships all over the world. And yeah, that is pretty much about my academic side.
Okay. So tell me, I remember that we met 1 year ago, Manan. We met exactly 1 year ago because we started when I was in Delhi, and I was in Delhi early July 2023. So what have you done between this 1 year where we have since this 1 year where we have met?
So between that time, I had already started preparing for my GMAT and GRE, but between this time, I gave my GRE and I got 325 on it. And then I gave my IELTS as well. And then with Hubert, I decided to shortlist the schools and I decided which schools would be fit for me. And then I started to write the then I started to prepare for each of them, deciding what I have to send in the applications and deciding what would be on the applications. And finally during end of the year last year, I started sending in the applications and finally I got into a few of them. And then there was this entire thing with the interviews which I prepared, and the interviews for I gave the interviews for LBS, for Kellogg Business School, for Duke, and for ESSEC. And finally got admitted into it, and now I'm started with my visa process.
Okay. To how many schools have you been accepted? Because you have been accepted to quite a lot, by the way.
Yeah. So I was accepted into LBS, which I would be joining. Alongside LBS, I was also accepted into Kellogg Business School, to Carnegie Mellon, to Duke Business School, Duke Fuqua, and then ESSEC in France, which I got in with a scholarship as well. Yeah, these are the schools that I got accepted to almost all the schools I applied in.
Did you? Yeah. So you got LBS, Kellogg, Carnegie, Duke, ESSEC, and I remember that you got a scholarship for ESSEC. What was the amount of the scholarship?
For ESSEC, I got 20,000 euros, and then I also got the Eiffel scholarship, for which the government would pay for the living expenses as well.
And beside that, you have refused, and you have decided to go to LBS, which is much more
Yeah,
expensive. LBS is going to cost you twice as much. Okay.
yeah,
Alors,
yeah.
why LBS? When you have, you know that if you study in France, you have a 5 year visa, you got help from the French government, housing is cheaper, you got even a scholarship. So why LBS versus ESSEC? Tell me.
So one of the major reasons for me was LBS being in London, which was a city that I was a bit more interested in making my career in, and LBS being a shorter course was also very important for me because I had already had my bachelor's, which was 5 years, so I wanted to get into the workforce faster. And finally, one of the major reasons was that being studying from the UK, it would be easier to migrate to countries like Australia or to the US, which are also in the Anglosphere. Whereas in France, then I would get the opportunity to work in Europe, which was not really on my agenda.
Yeah. But you never know because in France you have a 5 year visa, and after 5 years you can become French, and once you're French, things are easier probably. So tell me, what have been your interaction now with LBS?
Um, so the interactions with LBS till now have been pretty much great. The school is wonderful. So before applying as well, I attended several of LBS, several of their functions and their online webinars, which were amazing. But then the interview process was also very great, very simple, and the people there are also very helpful. And since now I've joined LBS, and I'm still in India, so I am doing the pre-program thing with them. So it has been very great. They have been really helpful with the visa process and with all the documentation, and they are also helping me with different things about moving to UK and how to adjust there, and also with different stuff like they have different classes and various webinars on finance, on economics, on marketing, and whatever you find interesting. That they hold them pretty much every week for all the alumni as well as the current graduates and joinees
Okay.
as well.
Have you met friends already at LBS or not? You have already met some friends?
Yeah, Yeah, so so we have a platform called Meet on which all of us get together, and there are all the alumni there as well. So you can interact with pretty much everyone. You can message them, and since I am in India and there are a lot of Indian people in LBS, so we have had several meetings with each other, the new joinees as well as the alumni group, and it has been very interesting meeting new people. And we have around a community of still around 1,000 people, 1,000 alumni in from LBS who are currently in India as well. So it has been pretty great.
Yeah, you have 1,000, which is a lot and not a lot given the size of India, but it's already not bad.
Yeah.
What have you planned? I don't, have you found a place to live already? Yes, have you?
Yeah, so finding a place to live in London is really tricky. It's very, very expensive, and the student accommodations are pretty much around 1,200 to 1,500 £1,500, and but I decided to go for an apartment. So I decided to find an apartment with two or three people who are also joining LBS with me, and we have decided to group together. And we usually, since all of us have people who are living already in UK, so we find apartments, and then the our relatives go who are living in the UK go and pretty much search for it, search for the apartments and look at them and find if they are good enough for us. But yeah, we have found a couple of decent options and probably would be finalizing in like a week or so.
Okay, so fully. What are your post MIM career plans? Because you mentioned Australia, US. What are your plans post LBS, Manan?
So post LBS, I want to transition my career into real estate and into business, because my background being in architecture, I want to work in real estate because it makes a lot more sense to transition there. And LBS has a wonderful program in real estate. They have several electives which would be very great for me. And London also being one of the major centers of construction and real estate as well. And then moving forward, I would like to go into management, in general management, especially at the big four and all the larger firms. And LBS has a very good standing in those firms as well, both in the offices of London and in the US and most of the Commonwealth as well. um, so yeah, my major plan is to stay in the UK or move to probably Canada or US and gain citizenship there and then start working there as well. But yeah, that would be the main plan. Otherwise, LBS has a very good startup culture as well, and the
Hmm?
UK government 2 years visa for startups as well. So to set up a startup in the UK, and then you can, if you get the funding, they can increase the visa and probably get you the citizenship as well. So that is another great option. So yeah, there is plenty of things you can explore there.
Okay,
So
good thing. By the way, when I teach Shreya, because Shreya is an architect like you, so I told her
yeah.
that you're an architect as well. Shreya Agarwal, you have a question for us, Shreya? Shreya?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hi, Manan.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Like you, I'm also switching from architecture, but I may not be pursuing it further. Like, you still said that you're thinking of getting into real estate, but I am really not thinking of going back to architecture in any
Okay.
manner. So I've started working in marketing for now recently, and I'm actually diverging myself into marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would like to know. I mean, I don't like, that we have a 5-year degree course, and from switching to from this field. So how has been the journey for you? Like that switch. I want to know about that.
Yes,
So
basically, Manan,
yeah.
what is your objective? Do you want to be an architect for study business? Are you going to do business to switch from architecture? So what is your
Yeah,
plan?
and
Even
also
though we,
because
we
you're
wrote
also studying from a very good
we wrote essays
university.
together, but knowing that our friend, she wants to make Shreya, she wants to quit architecture. So you want to cut off, or you want to continue?
So for me, so to be very frank, I actually pretty much hated architecture since the second year. It was something that I did not find very interesting for me, but I decided to complete the 5 years. And being one of the toughest colleges in India, SPA Delhi, it was highly difficult to even graduate as well. So
Hmm.
for me, I would say I don't want to continue with architecture, but um, transitioning transitioning directly from architecture into some other field would be really difficult, especially in the UK or outside India, because in India there are several opportunities where you can, but I feel that even with an LBS degree, it would be some. I felt it that it would be somewhat better if I slowly transition. So first, I would try to go into real estate and the financing related to that, and then further to some other field which is completely different from architecture. But yeah, I feel that LBS is a or any other master in management course would be wonderful for that, because here you get a lot of opportunity to try and understand different fields and to try what works the best for you, because we have classes in almost everything. So we have finance, marketing, and pretty much everything you can explore, and then you have 1 year to decide what suits you the best.
Yeah. So what I've
Okay.
noticed, Shreya, because I had already student who study architecture, is that if they do an MBA or an MIM, they want to quit architecture. Okay. So usually we write in the essay that we work in a private equity firm specializing in real estate. Okay, because it's a way for them to show that
Yeah,
there's a sort of transition. But in general, they want to quit and they want to do something completely different. Okay. So it's not a bad thing that you say that you want to quit. Now, first we have to somehow link the past and the future when we write your application together. So we have to
yeah,
be very careful with that. Okay.
yeah,
Okay, so you have to form some connection with your
yeah.
earlier field
Yeah.
because
So
Otherwise, they will
one of
not
the major
understand. They will not
things
understand.
is
You don't want to say,
this.
"I want to
Yeah,
quit. I spent 5 years in like studies. I want to quit." It's something that they don't want to hear something like that, because they say maybe you will not like the masters in management as well. So it's not. They want people who want to deepen their knowledge, want to go further with their existing knowledge. Okay. But I
yeah.
know that many of them, like
Mhm.
you, probably want to do something different. Can you explain? Last two questions. What is the admission process like? Because there's a storm in Manan City. Okay, so he could join only for 15 minutes because he's using his phone. Shreya. Alors, can you please tell us what it is to apply for these schools?
So I think the most important thing when you're applying is probably the essays, because those are the ones that clearly show your story and what you really want to do with your degree. So coming back to the previous question also, because um, since I was in architecture, and I did not want to do it further, I couldn't say directly that I wanted to quit architecture, because that doesn't look good in your application or your essays. So um, the main thing, if you're writing the essays, you have to really figure out the entire story that you want to show to the university. So you have to show that you want to transition, you want to move slowly away from the field that you did your bachelor's in, and you have a interest in something else, but you cannot go directly that I don't want to do some this. Yeah, so I think essays are the most important, and obviously GMAT or GRE is also very important, because it shows that you have the aptitude to pursue the degree. Because if you don't get a good score on GRE, especially, or GMAT, especially if you are from India, then it would be really, really difficult, because here the scores are much, much higher than the rest of the world. So yeah, I think those two are the most important things, and then your interview is very subjective.
Okay.
Even for you, a 325 was not so high for an Indian student. But where did they take you? I know why they took you. Why have you been so successful, Manan? Why have you been so successful?
I think the most important thing was the essays, because one of the major reasons is a lot of people are from the finance or economics background, or from engineering background, which forms around 50% of the students. So if you are from architecture, then you automatically get an advantage. If you can use that advantage, you can show that you are from a different background, and then you would be able to utilize that background and contribute something to the class. Because if the class is entirely built on the engineers or finance students, then it won't be as interesting. So yeah, the people who have a very different background, like architects or doctors, and we have them in the LBS batch as well. So they usually find it a little bit easier, because then you also have a point that you can make in every interview, because they usually ask you why are you transitioning, and if you have a very good
Mhm.
answer for that, then you automatically get a plus point. Because, and also another reason is because architecture is a very separated outfield. And what I decided to show was that it is half of it is arts, and half of it is based on very mathematical and aptitude terms. So yeah,
Mhm.
that is what was really stood out to them, because they were like, yeah, this guy can do and understand art and culture and the subjective things, as well as do the quantitative part of the course as well. So I think, yeah, that really worked out to my advantage.
Okay.
Uh, yes, you got the point, huh? And what is the interview like?
It depends from university to university. So LBS interview was very great. It was an ex LBS student, and he lived in Dubai. So we just conversed about how my bachelor's was something that I did not like, and he said, yeah, even he did not like. So that is where we connected. And then he was very frank, and it was very short interview. It lasted around 20 minutes, and um, basically he just asked a few of the questions, and it was nothing. But yeah, the ESSEC interview was probably the toughest. They have a panel of 3 people, and half the time they were asking very, very direct and difficult questions, and I thought that I won't be able to make it. But then I was really surprised when they gave my name for the scholarship as well. So I think interview depends from university to university, but I think the French universities are a little bit tougher. The American universities are probably the easiest ones because they really act like your friend, and most of the people who take the interviews are the ex-students of the course. So those
Yeah.
are the most easiest ones, especially Duke, which was the easiest.
Yeah, what you have to see, Shreya, is that if you apply
Hmm.
for French program, you'll have an interview with the jury, with the school. But if you apply for US, most of the US except MIT or UK program, you'll be with an alumni. Huh? Okay. But thank you very much. I know that it's not an easy situation. I told you that the interview will be pretty short, 17 minutes. Okay. I'll let you go, and I will see you in London because I'm quite often in London. We'll have opportunities to meet in London. Manan. Huh? Okay, and remember
Thank you.
that
Yeah.
we met something
Uh,
like 1 year ago. I was in Norita at that time. I was in Norita
Hello.
when I met you that you'll be very successful. I didn't know that you get LBS, Kellogg, Carnegie, Duke, ESSEC. I was not that optimistic, but I was optimistic that you do well. According to me, they took you because you're different. Huh? You're not another engineer, and also you're quite international. Huh? So these two
Yeah.
things allow you to get almost to be fully successful, even with a 325. Okay. So anyway,
Yeah.
Shreya, we'll have time if you want to join MBA Center. We'll have time to talk together. Huh? Okay,
Yeah.
Shreya. Hello.
Okay.
Where is
Okay.
she?
Yeah. Great.
Thank you.
Okay. So I don't know. The thing is very bad, and I suggest that we have a meeting soon, Shreya, and tell us if you want to join MBA Center. Okay. So have a good day, Manan. Thank you very much for
Thank you.
everything. Thank
Thank
you.
you.